Hey y'all, I'm Ben. I'm one of the guys here at Dorsal. And recently we had an idea of how can we do some more creative stuff on our channel. We really enjoy telling story-based films about fishing, the outdoors, things like that. But I realized that there was a punch I was pulling, and I thought we'd give this a go. It may not work, it may work well, I don't know which one. But in addition to fishing all my life and recently kind of getting into filmmaking around fishing, I actually have a PhD in econ. So I teach economics. I do a lot of research in fisheries economics. So that's the study of how do we adequately and properly manage our fisheries resources properly from an economic point of view. Also do a little bit on immigration and labor policy and some other things. And so I was talking with some buddies, and it was like, hey, can we learn anything about economics through fishing? It got me really thinking that probably there's two types of people when it comes to economics. It's those who had really bad experiences in high school and maybe even college, whether it was a bad teacher, a bad book, just some bad ideas. Or there's people who have a basic understanding of economics, but don't know how to apply it in the outdoors. And I see this more often than I'd like to admit, that a lot of our policies, strategies, goals, and things we talk about in the outdoors fall short of basic economic logic. And so I thought, hey, look, if we're gonna do this story making and filmmaking idea here at Dorsal, I should probably lean in with a little bit of my economics training and kind of break down some ideas here. So my goal for this sub channel here is to kind of bait you into economics using fishing stories and fishing concepts and things that folks in the outdoors know all about, but then also use it as an interesting platform to break down big fisheries policy issues that outdoorsmen care about. So things we'll talk about, in addition to some core economic ideas, we'll talk about public land use. We'll talk about, quotas and red snapper quotas specifically here on the Gulf Coast and how those work, or do they work. We'll talk about the managing of catch and release fisheries like tarpon and redfish and how we need to think about those. In addition to kind of thinking about public versus private land hunting, high game fences, and things like that, and what those mean from an economic standpoint. So my hope here is that you can join me. I'll usually have a cup of coffee because this is how I'm going to start my day. I hope that some of the conversations here are interesting. Again, if there are concepts that I am not covering that people have questions about, that's my dog making a racket in the backyard. I'm always interested in trying some new concepts here, but I thought this might be a good way to kind of better the space in the outdoors of adding an economic point of view to the outdoors, and then also using the outdoors as a way to increase our economic understanding, in addition to telling my dog to stop barking. So anyways, hope that y'all can join us for some coffee, some ideas in the outdoors, and some economics. Thanks y'all.